Hey everyone. Good to see everyone coming back. So we're starting a new section today, and I was just thinking as reflecting a bit about everything that we've gone through in the Lam Rim topics, and um, Geshe Rabten, he and how he's labeling things and breaking it up. So we started with this guru devotion and the importance of a spiritual teacher, and then we meditated on the precious human rebirth, this opportunity that we have, um, this opportunity to have a human body and be able to practice and meditate. And then, so Geshe Rabten, he puts these two subjects into the category of basic. I guess he's saying that these are essential, basic parts of the path that we need a spiritual teacher and we need an opportunistic rebirth. And then we've been meditating now for several months now on the path of the inferior person. So we meditated on death, death and impermanence, the hell realms, um, refuge. So taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and then karma. That's where we just left off, right? So we just did the karma section. And so those are all bunched into this category of the inferior person. And now, and those are already really quite challenging, right? um, so now we're going to start meditating on the sufferings of the happier realms and the sufferings of samsara. And we think that samsara is so beautiful, wonderful, and happy and glorious. So we're going to look at the perceived happiness and um, maybe see how it's not as happy as we perceive it to be. So it's just contemplating a bit on all those steps that we meditated on over the last months. So we make sure that we're in a nice, comfortable position, bringing our attention into this space, into our very auspicious and special Zoom room. And just thinking that we're taking 30 minutes right now to meditate and contemplate um, the path to enlightenment. And the rest of the day, 10 hours, 12 hours, however many hours we're going to be awake, we're going to probably be doing completely different things and not having these contemplations, doing worldly activities, feeding our body, cleaning it, organizing things, taking care of friends or family. So a lot of time that we're just spending with non dharma activities. So we really want to make sure we can bring our mind into this space and use this 30 minutes the best as possible. Make sure that we're completely um, aware, which is hard, right? Because our attention is scattered. So we just make this determination now for the next 25 minutes. And we're going to contemplate uh, contemplate the Lam Rim, and really try to understand it and create a shift in our mind, not just passive meditation, but very active. And so also with this determination, we create our motivation, that we're not just doing this as a activity just for ourselves, right? We want to develop our mind. We want to understand and create this wisdom that's not only intellectual, but we feel it in our hearts, we feel it in our body, we feel it in our mind stream. And we do that for the sake of other beings, for all the humans, uh, all the animals, the insects, all the beings in the ocean. Particularly because they don't have the capacity to do this. So we do it on their behalf so that we can create this wisdom, this mind of enlightenment that can one day um, bring them out of suffering, to enlighten them and lead them along the path. That's our motivation. So to practice the path of this intermediate person, of this intermediate uh, spiritual person, we have to develop renunciation, right? Um, this is the state of mind that understands that all types of samsaric existence are are unsatisfactory, and they lack freedom. So this is the mind that aims for the attainment of liberation. So we have to develop this um, really strong desire for liberation. This is essential that we understand that wherever we look in samsara, we don't see any situation that would be saying, oh yeah, I want to stay here. Because if we have clinging to any state, such as the human state or a divine state, then we can't really, in our heart, aspire to be liberated. So it's a really essential part, this renunciation, or it's better said freedom, right? We want to be free, free of clinging, free of attachment, free of suffering. Or maybe we could say, we want to be completely free in our minds. That's freedom, right? It's not it's not a physical place. So so in these meditations on the path of the inferior uh, person, um, that we've been doing for the last few months, one recognizes the sufferings of the hell realms, the pretas, the animals, right? And by contemplating on refuge and on karma, then we learn how to avoid such rebirth, right? But pressing that meditation even further, we find that even um, even these higher states of samsaric rebirth, they're unsatisfactory. They're um, they're transitory by nature, and even if one is born into such a state, then one can fall back to a hell realm. You're not guaranteed to stay out. So we look at these. There's four great sufferings that are kind of packaged in this human existence. So we have birth, aging, sickness, and death. So in the course of our rebirths, we experiencing these four great sufferings again and again. So the suffering of birth. So the suffering starts right from conception. Um, the embryo is already a human being. And though smaller than us, it has feelings. And given its situation, it's going to experience suffering most of the time. And yeah, happiness from time to time. So we can easily see that to be constricted in such a small, narrow place, it's dark, it's wet. Um, so this experience in the womb must be unpleasant. And this fetus is, the bones are not fully formed, they're not hardened, the skin is very tender. So it's extremely sensitive, right, to suffering. I mean, the whole environment is probably very unpleasant. So we can imagine this, right? I mean, if we were in um, very tight spaces that were uh, wet and we didn't have any control, then um, we probably wouldn't be very happy. And after 9 months of this suffering, then the baby has to leave the womb. It can no longer stay inside. So there's this extreme moment of suffering passing through this tight passage. It's completely squeezed. Um, it's difficult, and sometimes the baby actually has to be removed or pulled out, which could be extremely painful, and they have no idea what's going on, um, no control, and while the mother has access to maybe painkillers or drugs or something like this, the baby probably doesn't have that. It's not getting that uh, a relief of pain. And it's the same for animals, right? So if we think of a baby lamb being born, they don't even have the painkillers or the doctors or the help. Uh, they just they just fall on the ground. And we can't remember being born, most of us. So, but we think that that death is going to be a great suffering. But actually, the suffering of birth is much worse, most likely. And we shouldn't listen to this as a story about someone else, but take it and applying it to ourselves directly because we've all been there. We've all gone through this experience, not just in this lifetime, but in countless prior lifetimes. And we're going to go through it again and again. And it's most likely that we don't remember our birth because of this intense suffering. It most likely inhibits our memory of it. because that happens to many individuals when there's an intense suffering or traumatic situation. Then it can be forgotten or obscured in our memory, and we don't remember the incident at all. The memory is not always very clear. So this is just one element of suffering in the happier realms in samsara. Just this birth. It seems like a very challenging, painful, disruptive experience. So I don't think it's something that we would voluntarily say, oh yeah, I'd like to do that tomorrow. So let's take a moment and contemplate this. So I've had multiple rebirths. I have more to come in the future. I when I'm born, I'm going to go through this suffering of birth again. And if I could go back in my mind stream and look backward in the past, I could see countless rebirths, countless events of suffering. And if I look forward into all the rebirths that I have coming, no, they're also countless. So where is the joy? Where's the happiness of going through this experience again and again? So it's hard to find this joy. Where's the happiness there? especially since conventionally in society we have this view of birth as being giving life, something new, something fresh, right? But when we start to look at it and we see all this suffering that's involved with birth, then if birth gives means life, right? And birth is suffering, then um, it seems that living in these realms is also suffering because we can't have happiness come from suffering. It doesn't seem to be the right seed. Doesn't seem to be logical. And that's what birth means, right? It means to be born, to come into existence, to have a life, to go through the aging process, to get sick and experience death. So next time we'll look at the aging process and we'll look for the happiness in aging. And or say we'll look for the happiness in life. And I think there's a lot of perceived happiness that gets disguised. And if we really look at it, then it's not so happy. So thinking about our contemplations of today, we can dedicate all the merits of all of our thoughts, of our effort that we put into understanding suffering of our samsaric existence. And may all the merit that we created during this meditation, may it not be destroyed, but may it continue to grow. And all the merit that has not been yet created, may it come and flourish at the right time for the sake of all beings. And we can also dedicate for everyone that's going through difficult times, everyone that's sick or has maybe lost a loved one. We dedicate for all of these, and we dedicate for all the animals that are suffering on a daily basis, and that don't have this opportunity to make these heartfelt contemplations. They're just continually circling in cyclic existence. Thank you, everyone.